I like to be prepared for whatever a ride might throw at me. That said, let's talk about the gear that makes that possible. Welcome back to the garage. Since the rain has been pretty relentless here in California, as you're aware, I haven't been able to ride much. So instead today, I thought we'd talk about some of the gear that I actually enjoy using while I'm out on my rides. And I'm not talking about, clothing or helmet or glasses, gloves, none of that. I'm just talking about the tools and gear that I think that are really helpful to have while I'm out riding. Let's kick it off. When it comes to storing all the gear that I like to bring, that can come in many different flavors. There's butt bags, hydration packs, or even internal storage on the bike. Now, based on what I like to bring, I think the hydration pack works the best. So what I run is an Osprey Qatari 7. Now, this thing is awesome, and I did a ton of research. I tried on a ton of packs, but this was the only one that really fit the need that I had. This is just the right size to fit everything I want, and it's just big enough to shove like a lightweight windbreaker or jacket in there in the winter when things kind of get gnarly. I cannot say enough good things about Osprey. This is not sponsored by Osprey, this is just my opinion, but Osprey makes some great stuff. Every time I'm going through the zippers or messing with a strap, you can just feel that there was a lot of thought put into this pack, and it really shows when I bring it out on the trail. So when I was looking for travel first aid kits, there's a lot on the market, but none of them really felt the need that I wanted. So I've actually custom made this little pack. And on the inside, I've handpicked a few things that I think is pretty important to have when I'm trailside. It's got bandages to stop any bleeding, some steri strips to help close up wounds, as well as some butterfly band-aids, and some pretty standard patches and band-aids for those smaller cuts and bruises. It's also got some triple antibiotic ointment, as well as some iodine solution in there to help sterilize things if you get a nasty cut. I probably won't post everything that went into this thing, but if you're interested in learning more about making your own little first aid kit, let me know. Maybe that's another video idea for you. If I'm gonna be out longer than 40 minutes, I'm probably gonna bring some snacks with me. There's nothing worse than bonking on the trail. You just feel exhausted, the hill is way too steep, and your blood sugar tanks. It's not a fun experience. Generally, the food that I pack comes in two flavors for me. One, something with a little more substance to be able to kind of fill my gut when I'm actually hungry. Maybe a ride's running a little late than I thought it would. Or something that can give me that punch of energy and caffeine kick that I need. So think like your goo gels and stuff like that. If you keep an eye on Strava, you'll actually see a lot of companies will do these mini awards you can do, and you'll get pretty sweet coupons for money off on their product. There's a lot of options out there when it comes to multi-tools, and I'm sure each one might fit their need. For me, I try to keep things simple. That's why I went with this small toe peak ratchet set. It comes with a full set of metric Allen bits, all the way from 2mm up to 8mm, as well as a Phillips head and a couple torque sizes. I think it's torque 10 to torque 25, plus a nice little extension and some tire levers. I've actually seen guys completely round out a bolt because they were trying to get into something somewhere with a multi-tool that it just wasn't gonna happen. They had to fix their ride, right? So that's the only option they had, where this kind of saves you from that. I also like to carry a spare chain master link. These can be used as a pinch if your chain decides to give out on you. I probably won't ever have to use this, given that I try and keep track of my chain wear using a chain wear tool, but in the event that it does happen, at least I've got the extra link. They're pretty small and they don't weigh very much, so why not throw it in there? So I run tubeless on both of my bikes, and you should too. It's way better. When it comes to running tubeless, there's two things I like to keep with me. A spare tube, just in case things really go wrong, and a bacon plug kit. The bacon kit I have is made by KOM Cycling. It's super lightweight, it's a little aluminum piece or a little aluminum tube. It's got all the things you'll need to run it. It folds up really nice and compact and light, and it works for me. It gets the job done. Not super expensive either. For tube brands, I just buy whatever the local shop has because I'm not running these all the time. They're more of an emergency only situation. When it comes to tire pressure, I always like to carry a pump on me on all my rides. Most often before each ride, I'll check my tire pressure at the car, but sometimes I don't always get it right. I might get a few miles into a ride and realize I need to either air up or air down. Now, this pump is nothing special. I didn't go out of my way to find a specific brand, but what I did make sure I have is this little flexi bendy tube bit that goes on the end. This is super important, and not all pumps have them. Some pumps you just have to open the valve and directly seal it on the rim or on the valve cover, on the valve stem. And as you're pumping, it wants to flex and move, and that can actually, I've seen guys bend their seals. Reusable, it's only 12 bucks if you find a cheap one, and it's a good thing to have. Zip ties are an absolute must for the kit. They really come in handy for those situations where you have thing A that I want to be attached to thing B, and you have no good way to do that. Boom, zip ties. Lightweight, throw them in your bag. They'll save you someday, I promise. I've even seen guys tie an entire brake caliper onto their frame just to get them back to the car. Absolute clutch move. Wouldn't recommend it. It's probably super sketchy, but it works. One of the last and arguably most important things that I carry on me on every ride is a multi-tool. This one in particular is called a Skele Tool, and it's made by Leatherman. This tool has been invaluable. It's got a pair of pliers, Phillips and flathead screwdrivers, and a knife. This thing has saved me out on the trail more than once. For example, say you need to bend a derailleur hanger that you mangled up on a rock. Boom, pair of pliers, easy peasy. Piece of zip tie that you wanted to put on somewhere, or you put a zip tie on wrong and you need to cut it off. Boom, you've got your knife ready to go. Okay, and that about wraps it up. It's not too much in the kit, but those are kind of my essential items that I've found really deserves a place with me on all my rides. Let me know in the comments which one of these items you thought brings the most value on a ride. And if I miss anything, let me know down there as well. Looking at the forecast, we're actually getting quite a few breaks in rain, and I couldn't be more excited. The trails are probably going to be absolutely haggard just from all the rain and landslides that have been going on, but it really leaves me hopeful that I'm going to be able to get out and get some proper mountain biking in. It's been way too long. And with that, thanks for joining me in the garage, and I'll see you in the next one.